The Divine Companion. By James Allen. Foreword. It cannot be said of this book that James Allen wrote it at any particular time or in any one year, for he was engaged in it over many years, and those who have eyes to see and hearts to understand will find in its pages the spiritual history of his life. It was his own wish that The Divine Companion should be the last MS of his to be published. It is the story of my soul, he said, and should be read last of all my books, so that the student may understand and find my message in its pages. Therefore hold it back until you have published everything else. There remain now only his dramatic works and a few poems to be included in the next edition of Poems of Peace. That The Divine Companion will prove a companion indeed to thousands who have read his books in the past, I have no doubt. To read it is to hear again the voice of the writer, and to study its message is to once again sit at his feet. He trod the way himself, every bit of it, and he therefore speaks as one having authority. Lovers of James Allen's works will indeed be filled with joy to know that there is yet another book from his inspired pen, and will eagerly welcome The Divine Companion. Lily L. Allen. Part 1, The Divine Companion. I, the Spirit of Truth, and the friend of the forsaken and the companion of the wise. I restore the one, and I gladden the other, and all men I protect, though they know me not. The Divine Companion. Truth as Awakener. 1. Rejoice, for the morning has dawned. The truth has awakened us. We have opened our eyes and, the dark night of error is no more. Long have we slept in matter and sensation. Long did we struggle in the painful nightmare of evil. But now we are awake in spirit and truth. We have found the good, and the struggle with evil is ended. We slept, yet knew not that we slept. We suffered, yet knew not why we suffered. We were troubled in our dreaming, yet none could awake us, for all were dreaming like ourselves. Then there came a pause in our dreaming. Our sleep was stayed. Truth spoke to us, and we heard. And lo! We opened our eyes, and saw. We slumbered and saw not. We slept and knew not. But now we are awake and see. Yea, we know we are awake because we have seen holiness, and we love sin no more. We have beheld truth, and error has ceased to attract us. Yea, we have seen the truth. Not as a dream in the night, but as a reality with our awakened eyes. As a beautiful land afar have we seen it. And we shall press forward until we reach and possess it. How beautiful is truth! How glorious is the realm of reality! How ineffable is the bliss of holiness! We have abandoned error for truth and illusion for reality. We have turned our backs on error and confusion, and have set our faces towards the harmony of justice and truth. 2. To sin is to dream. And to love sin is to love darkness. The awakened do not prefer dreaming to intelligent action. They do not choose darkness rather than light. They who love darkness are involved in the darkness. They have not yet seen the light. He who has seen the light does not choose to walk in darkness. To see the truth is to love it, and in comparison error has no beauty. The dreamer is now in pleasure, now in pain. This hour in confidence, the next in fear. He is without stability and has no abiding refuge. When the monsters of remorse and retribution pursue him, whither can he fly? There is no place of safety unless he awake. Let the dreamer struggle with his dream. Let him strive to realize the illusory nature of all self-seeking desire. And lo! He will open his spiritual eyes upon the world of light and truth. He will awake, and will see all things in their right relations and true proportions. He will be happy, sane, and peaceful seeing things as they are. Truth is the light of universe, the day of the mind. In it there is no error, no anguish, and no fear. He who has awakened into the light of day is no more burdened with the troubles of his dreams. They are remembered as dreams only, as illusions that are dispelled. The unweakened one knows neither waking nor dreaming. He is in confusion, he knows not himself. Neither knows he others, and his judgment is without knowledge. The awakened one knows both waking and dreaming. He is established in wisdom. Knowing himself, he knows others, and he judges with knowledge. He is the understander, the knower of hearts. And, walking in the light of truth, he knows that every dreamer will at last awake. 3. Truth awakens us out of the slumber of ignorance, out of the deep sleep of sin. It calls, and they who hear and awake, become wise and blessed. Truth appears to men, and they see it not. It calls to them, and they hear not. It speaks to them through their actions. It cries aloud to them in their sufferings. It shines upon them in all their ways. But they hear not, neither do they see. For their ears are deaf in slumber, and their eyes are holden with sleep. Truth is manifest in the actions of the wise. Its light illuminates their precepts. But the sleeper in error has no eyes for the manifest. And the light of truth, falling upon his sleeping lids, calls forth no visual response. Where there is no understanding, the repetition of precepts is vain. Right comprehension is needed. The sinless mind is the seeing mind. He who has right comprehension interprets the divine precepts by the light of his own spotless deeds. He does not repeat in error, but understands by the Spirit of truth. And this is the Spirit of truth, to be free from sin, to abide in good deeds, and to live in peace with all. They that do evil know not the truth. The truth is in them that do good. The deeds of truth shine like the stars at night, dispelling darkness. Truth reveals the everlasting good. It turns night to day, and changes the appearance of all things. So that sin and sorrow are not, and evil is no more. 4. We are awake, and see. And we know we are awake because we see good. And we know we are of the spirit of good because our lusts have departed from us. And the bondage of hatred is broken. We are wedded to purity. We have put on the raiment of righteousness. And we serve the spirit of love. Therefore are we awake. Therefore we know that truth has roused us from the sleep of evil. We are free and happy because we walk in the light. And we see all things clearly in that light. And we know the way we walk and whither we go. But when our lusts affrighted us and hatred enchained us, when darkness enfolded us, and the dream of evil held us, then were we bound and miserable. We saw only our fitful dreams. We knew not the way we walked, nor whither we went. He that hates men is evil, is in sin. And he that is in sin is unweakened. The awakened one is the lover of all men, and there is no hatred in him. And this is the sign that he is awakened in the truth, that he loves them that hate him. Truth ends the dream of evil. It dispels the illusions of hatred. It liberates the sleeper from darkness and dreams. Awake, ye that sleep in error. Rouse yourselves, ye that dream in sin. The splendor of a higher life is round about you. Even the life of good. Open your eyes and see. Be alert and listen that ye may hear the call of truth. Even the voice of the great awakener. Truth is consoler. 1. The knowledge of truth is an abiding consolation. When all else fails, the truth does not fail. When a heart is desolate, and the world affords no shelter, truth provides a peaceful refuge and a quiet rest. The cares of life are many, and its path is beset with difficulties. But truth is greater than care, and is superior to all difficulties. Truth lightens our burdens, it lights up our pathway with the radiance of joy. Loved ones pass away, friends fail, and possessions disappear. Where then is the voice of comfort? Where is the whisper of consolation? Truth is the comforter of the comfortless, and the consoler of them that are deserted. Truth does not pass away, nor fail, nor disappear. Truth bestows the consolation of abiding peace. Troubles come to all. Even the wise cannot escape them. But the wise have a sure and safe refuge in the eternal good. They have a comforter, even truth, who removes the sting from affliction, and disperses the clouds of trouble. Night descends upon the pure as upon the impure. But it holds no terrors for the pure. For the light of truth shines in the darkness with assuring radiance. Sweet is the sleep of the innocent. And they that rest upon the bosom of truth repose in peace. Day lights up the way both of the wise and the foolish. But the foolish are enveloped with the darkness of error. They stumble and are bruised, and have no comforter. But the wise walk in the light of truth. And should they stumble, they are lifted up. Lo! They are healed and comforted. They that have the knowledge of truth have the satisfaction of peace. They are not immune from the vicissitudes of life. They are not released from the cares and responsibilities of worldly duties. They are not unassailed by external foes. But they are restful at heart. Their minds abide in the great calm. 2. The worldly minded have no comforter. But if they forsake the world and fly to truth, they will receive the sweet gift of consolation. The world is the place of pleasure and pain. The truth is the abode of joy and peace. They that relinquish the excitements and dissatisfactions of the world for the sake of truth will find an unfailing companion and friend, even the eternal. Distress is in the world. Yea, grief and sorrow abound. But the truth is calm. It allays grief, and soothes away all sorrow. Hear ye the lamentations of the world. Wilder are they than the tempest, deeper than the ocean's roar. Truth alone can still the tempests of passion and the storms of grief. Come ye up into the calm. Resort ye to the great silence. Men are swept along by the force of turbulent passions. But when sorrow arrests them, they cry out in anguish. Love of worldly pleasure has brought them low, and the world can offer them no comfort. The world distresses, but the truth consoles. They whom the world has destroyed and deserted, who are cast down by pain and sorrow, even they are befriended by the truth when they turn to truth. None are despised by truth. None are turned away. None are left comfortless. Ye that are weary with pleasure-seeking, ye that are pain-stricken, ye that are lonely and desolate, come ye to the truth. The truth is above pleasure and pain. Be ye lifted up. Be ye rested. Be ye healed. Be ye befriended and comforted. 3. He who clings to his delusions, loving self and sin, he cannot find the truth, cannot receive the consolation of truth. All that demeans and defiles must be abandoned. Truth is not found if the love of self is not renounced. They who lie or deceive, who hate or envy, who lust or covet, who think only of their own pleasure, whose aims are for self and the glory of self in all that they do, from such truth is hidden by a veil of darkness, even a thick veil of error. From such the consolation of truth is withheld because they seek for self only, and not for truth. They who are truthful and sincere, who love men and rejoice in their success, who are pure and generous, who seek the good of others in all that they do, to them truth is revealed. Such stand face to face with good, and receive the consolation of truth. The foolish seek satisfaction in sensual pleasures. The vain are pleased with the flatteries of the world. The one leads to misery and emptiness, the other to disappointment and humiliation. The wise abide in the joy of truth, and there are no pitfalls for the humble. Their feet are steadfast in the way of peace. We have cancelled our compact with the world. Its pleasures are put away, abandoned, renounced. We perform the necessary uses of the world, but we no longer rest upon its forms. No more seek satisfaction in its thirsty desires. Our hearts are set upon the good of all. Thus have we found the abiding sweetness of religion. We have found a quiet trust and a patient happiness. We have resorted to the faithful one, the ever-present Comforter, even the Spirit of holiness. We have taken shelter in his high abode, and no temptation shall draw us back into the tempestuous ways of the world. For our refuge is a refuge indeed. 4. The way of self is the way of sorrow, but truth refreshes the weary, and lifts up the oppressed. There is gladness for the grief-stricken, and healing for them that are afflicted with the sorrows of the world. There is a place of freedom where the chains of sin are broken, where weeping is not, and lamentation is no more heard. There is a friend for the friendless, and consolation for them that have no comforter. Come, see, and receive. Truth meets all needs, and is ready to receive all who come. The righteous rest there. They have received the fullness of joy. Let also the unrighteous come. Yea, let them that are weary of sin come. And they that are burdened and oppressed with the sorrows of self, let them enter and be glad. There is a home for the homeless, and a country for the exiled. For the wanderer there is a happy way, and the lost have a city of refuge. Whosoever will turn, let him turn and come. Truth brings joy out of sorrow, and peace out of perturbation. It points the selfish to the way of good, and sinners to the path of holiness. Its spirit is the doing of righteousness. To the earnest and faithful it brings consolation. Upon the obedient and skillful it bestows the crown of peace. I take refuge in truth. Yea, in the spirit of good, in the knowledge of good, and in the doing of good I abide. And I am reassured and comforted. It is to me as though malice were not, and hatred had vanished away. Lust is confined to the nethermost darkness. It hath no way in truth's transcendent light. Pride is broken up and dissolved. And vanity is melted away as a mist. I have set my face towards the perfect good, and my feet in the blameless way. And because of this I am consoled. I am strengthened and comforted, having found refuge in truth. Truth as Redeemer. 1. Truth is our Redeemer. Truth purifies our hearts and bestows upon us the glorious gift of divine love. There is no salvation in selfishness. Self is the vessel of sin and the receptacle of sorrow. But when we fly to truth, self is ended and love abides forever. We have tried the ways of self, and we know how hard they are. We also look upon the weary multitudes, and compassion is stirred within us. But now we have found the truth, the pilgrimage of self is ended. Our feet are rested, and there is no more weariness of heart. The nature of self is error. It cannot, therefore, comprehend truth. The experience of self is suffering. It cannot, therefore, apprehend bliss. When the vessel of self is broken, and its contents of error and suffering are scattered, then is truth revealed and realized. Truth alone can comprehend truth, and bliss apprehended bliss. How can self know love, seeing that its nature is its own gratification? How can it know peace, seeing that it cannot bestow love? How can it enter into salvation, seeing that it dreads the loss of its perishable lusts and empty pleasures? Self is the way of darkness and the path of pain. The redeemed have put away self, and have accepted truth. Self regards error as truth, when it is pleasing. It regards truth as error, when it is displeasing. Seeking pleasure and dreading pain, it does not know good and evil. Truth knows truth as truth, and error as error. It avoids evil and chooses good, without considerations of pleasure and pain. Divine love is the perfect flower of truth. For when truth fills the heart, love blossoms out in the life. By this flower is truth known. For wheresoever impartial love is, there is truth. Just deeds, pure actions, works untainted with self, minds controlled and calm. These are the angelic messengers of truth. The possessors of these are the redeemed. Their habitation is peace. 2. Truth is the Savior of the world. There is no other Savior. There can be no compromise with truth. It says, give up self. Truth is our Redeemer only when we yield up all to it. Self cannot be saved. It must be abandoned. It must be left to the darkness in which it originated and to which it belongs. The light of salvation is only for them that press forward, and leave all selfishness behind. And they who turn not back enter the presence of the Redeemer. They are clothed with His glory. Who can see the glory of the redeemed? The redeemed behold it. And them that are about to be redeemed, see it dimly. But the eyes of the world are holden with the thought of self. The redeemed are silent in the midst of men. They accuse not, condemn not, revile not. When smitten, they are not angry. And when mocked, they make no sign. That him that smote them they succor in his sorrow. And when they that mock them are brought low, they lift them up and bless them. The utterance of truth is deeds. The redeemed are freed from all selfishness. They are made perfect in truth. The thought of self being eliminated, there is nothing remaining in them that can give rise to selfishness. They are calm and just, doing that which is right, and passion is purged from their actions. He who comes to the feet of truth, earnest in thought, strong in will, and contrite in heart, will be lifted up and saved. He will overcome all that defiles, and all that causes sorrow. The light of truth will light up his mind, dispelling all darkness. And he will stand among them to whom the cosmic glory is unveiled. 4. To the redeemed, the narrow confines of self are burst and broken asunder. And the mind is conscious of the eternal. The universe is known as it is. Yea, its perfection and the splendor of its law are revealed. So large, so boundless, so all-embracing is the life of the redeemed in truth. 3. Immortal truth redeems us from mortal error. Clinging no more to the perishable, we fly to the imperishable, and find the rock of safety. The body grows old, it withers and decays. Passions burn out, leaving only the ashes of regret. Pleasures cease to satisfy and pains fill up their places. But truth is imperishable. It never grows old, nor does it wither and decay. It does not consume, and it leaves behind no sorrow and no pain. To set the mind upon that which is perishable. To be consumed by violent passions. To live in unhappiness and misery, this it is to be unredeemed. The redeemed having the knowledge of the imperishable and being in possession of righteousness. Live in happiness and joy. For truth is always bright and beautiful. Yea, truth is always peace, bestowing. It calms the storms of strife. To the passion, driven it brings quiet. Upon the dark waters of anguish it pours the oil of stillness. The mind that is troubled it restores, and envelops it with silence. The redeemed are satisfied. They are in security and peace. They are not overtaken by the storms of passion, nor attacked and laid low by fierce desires. They abide in the place of safety. What enemy shall overcome the redeemed? Have they not slain the supreme enemy, even self? Have they not taken his stronghold, even their own hearts? Yea, they have purified their hearts, and the impure cannot overcome the pure. Out of the black night, out of the fierce war, out of the confusion and the conflict have the redeemed come. And now they dwell in the light. They abide with peace, and darkness and strife are no more. 4. The unredeemed are in the confines of self. They are surrounded with darkness. They seek for self only. The redeemed are in the glory of the universal, the impersonal. They are surrounded with light. They seek the good of all. Truth is the breaker of bonds. It liberates the slave. It sets the captive free. Who chooses bondage rather than liberty? Who prefers darkness to light? He who has not known liberty loves his chains. And he who has not seen the light prefers to remain in darkness. And when liberty is made known, it is desired. When light is perceived, there is no longer a dwelling place in darkness. The desires of the flesh are a tormenting fever. The hatreds, conflicts, and covetings of the mind are a consuming fire. But there is a healing for the fever, and a water for the quenching of the fire. Truth is the healer of the mind. It is a sweet medicine to the afflicted, and a draught of cool water to them that are troubled with thirst. There is no unrest in truth. The unredeemed are in the way of sorrow. Pain and weariness are their companions. Reaching after pleasures, they grasp sorrows. Striving eagerly for self, happiness departs from them. But the redeemed are in the way of gladness. Strength and joy are their companions. And not departing from good, they dwell in the house of happiness. From what, then, are we redeemed? From what are we saved, and where is our salvation? We are redeemed from self and passion, from sin and sorrow, from unholiness and unrest. Even from these are we taken away. We are saved from lust and hatred, from pride and vanity, from covetousness and envy. Even from these are we drawn away. We are saved by the truth, by the practice of truth, by the knowledge of truth, and by the power of truth. Our salvation is from the truth. In truth we rest. Truth is the Redeemer of the world. Truth as reconciler. 1. Truth is the reconciler of extremes. It neutralizes all opposites. It harmonizes all discords and contradictions. It brings back to us harmony and peace. When we were in error, we saw all things as erroneous. Yea, when we were blind to our own error, we saw error in all else. We saw good as evil, and evil as good. Light is darkness, and darkness is light. But now we have plucked out the eye of error from ourselves, we see the supreme good. Truth reconciles man to man. It reconciles man to the universe. It bestows upon him the knowledge of the good law. It reveals the hidden justice in all events. In error is unrest, and anger, and perturbation. Trouble and turmoil is ever with him, who sees injustice, confusion, and contradiction. But he who sees justice, order, and harmony is calm and filled with peace. Error sees error, and truth sees truth. Error, being darkness, cannot penetrate the light. But truth, being light, can penetrate the darkness. Truth reconciles darkness with light. Error is the great unrest. Truth is the great peace. He who looks with the eye of error is restless as the shifting winds. But restful as the stable mountain is he who looks with the eye of truth. We are reconciled to the world. We are reconciled to humanity. And being thus reconciled, we are at rest. Where unrest is, there is no reconciliation. And they who are not so reconciled have not received the truth. 2. All things are proportionate. All circumstances are just. All events are of causation. He who has received the light of truth sees all things in their right relations. All things are ruled by causation. All things are of the nature of causation. There is nothing which is not contained in cause and effect. Cause and effect are one. The divine law is one. Out of chaos into cosmos have we come. Out of confusion into harmony. Out of bewilderment into peace perpetual. There is good in all things. Out of evil comes suffering. Out of suffering comes sorrow. And from sorrow is lowly wisdom born. Though the night be long, morning comes. And with it comes sunshine and singing. Though the world be in its long night, the great day will dawn. Lo! We behold the splendor of its light. There are no more any enemies. All are our own, our beloved. Both them that bless and them that curse all are friendly to us. The inward enemy being overcome, all outward foes have vanished away. There is no more enmity. Men and things are in their right places. There is no more strife. No more fighting. No more warfare. We behold the fray, but do not engage in it. We hear the tumult, and we make no sound. But though quiescent, we watch. Though silent, we are not indifferent. Perceiving the divine order, we are reconciled to all things. And being so reconciled, we are in perfect peace. 3. Wherefore should we mourn and be sorrowful? The very ground of lamentation is dissolved. The foundation of sorrow is cut away. And as for sin and evil they were, but are not. The sphere of controversy is broken. About what should we contend? The world of division is annulled. What have we to defend? Can truth fail, that we should argue, that we should be anxious and concerned? Because truth endures forever, our peace can never fail. The seed fails in its appointed place. The flower appears, and also the fruit in its season. Day warms, and night cools, light is shed, and rain falls. Snow covers, and frost binds dot. Are these things opposed? Are they enemies? They work together as one. Who, then, shall stir us up to wrath? Who shall draw us into the lists of contention? With them that agree with us we are at peace. And with that oppose us we are also at peace. Friends are not near, nor enemies far. Praise and blame are not asunder. Truth draws all things together. It resolves all opposites into one. Yea, forces that seem divided are now united. Things that seem to contend are now in agreement. And events that seemed adverse are now friendly. How foolish we were in our fear. How blind in our bigotry. How hateful in our heart. We were as the beasts that rage and kill. Or as the blind beetle that dashes on to its death. All things are in unison. And fear, and blindness, and hatred are no more. Having departed from the lesser, the greater is revealed. Having renounced the part, the whole is received. Having abandoned the imperfect, what remains but the perfect? 4. Truly all things are reconciled, and peace awaits. The door of truth is open. None hinders, but man holds back. He holds back for a time, and in the hour of ripeness he comes forward. Whosoever will come, let him come. Let him enter and be glad. All things are now. All light, all law, all truth is now. Time and eternity are one. Matter and spirit are one. Death and life are one. The blind see not. But they that have eyes know the things which they see. We strive not. We stand apart and are silent. Men hurry to and fro a little while. A little time they come, and a little time they go. How eager they are, how anxious. How fierce. Better than all worldly gain is the spirit of peace. Better than rule and riches is the reconciliation of truth. Fires burn out and storms subside. But serenity remains. Calmness preserves and restores, and tranquility is a great possession. Who condemns our aloofness? Him our peace enfolds. Even him our reconciliation embraces. Apart, we are not separate. Aloof, we are not estranged. Engaging with none, and joining with none, yet we belong to all. For the perfect reconciliation is not partial, but just. He who sees all sides, sees the whole. And seeing the whole, he is satisfied. Being satisfied, he is peace with all. Seers of the great glory. Hearers of the heavenly harmony. Knowers of the perfect law. Great is your gladness. Wondrous is your wisdom. Deep is your peace. More powerful is one day of your silence than 1,000 years of noise. All parties, all sides, all religions are reconciled. Love supports all, sustains all, nourishes all. The great reconciler is come. He is here, and we have found him. We sought him, and he turned not away. And because of this, we have received the world. And peace does not depart from us. Truth is protector. Good deeds are truth. Our good deeds remain with us, they save and protect us. Evil deeds are error. Our evil deeds follow us, they overthrow us in the hour of temptation. The evildoer is not protected from sorrow. But the good doer is shielded from all harm. The fool says unto his evil deed, remain thou hidden, be thou unexposed. But his evil is already published, and his sorrow is sure. If we are in evil, what shall protect us? What keep us from misery and confusion? Nor man nor woman, nor wealth nor power, nor heaven nor earth shall keep us from confusion. From the results of evil there is no escape. No refuge and no protection. If we are in good, what shall overthrow us? What bring us to misery and confusion? Nor man nor woman, nor poverty nor sickness, nor heaven nor earth shall bring us to confusion. The effects of good appear, though the cause be forgotten. And its refuge and protection is at hand. What can amulets and charms avail? What can the muttering of set prayers avail? What can the observance of formal rites avail? They cannot avail, they are empty. They are without efficacy, and are void of protection. Righteousness avails. The doing of good deeds avails. A pure heart and a blameless life avail. They are filled with joy and peace. Truth is a happy retreat and an eternal protection. In truth there is no more doubt and uncertainty. There is safety and security. There is a straight way and a quiet rest. 2. The righteous know the protection of truth. Their minds are free, and they are happy-hearted. Empty excuses and vain quibbles they harbor not. They scheme not how to protect themselves. Their deeds are invincible defenders. Their lives bear witness, and they are not ashamed. The unrighteous are overtaken with shame and confusion. They try to hide, but cannot. They have no place of concealment. Their deeds accuse them, and they have no protection. How happy are the righteous! They are relieved from all anxiety. Walking with truth, they walk in perfect freedom. How fearless are the righteous! They have no dark forebodings. They dread no evil. When evil threatens, they are calm and unafraid. Truth shields from the afflictions of the mind. It fortifies against misery. It destroys self, delusion and sorrow. The light of truth reveals error and the cause of error. It also reveals the effects of error. It frees the mind from all subjection to evil. He that is established in truth is established in safety. Truth cannot proceed from error, nor error from truth. Good cannot be the effect of evil, nor evil the effect of good. This is little understood. But the righteous understand, and, understanding, they are glad. They rejoice in the law of truth. The understanding mind is not misled by appearances. It rejoices in good against all appearances. When events press, it does not think, the good has failed. When outward things fail, it does not say, righteousness has not supported me. When persecution comes, it cannot say, lo, truth affords me no protection. Truth is in the thought, and not in the thing. It resides in the hearts, and not in the outward habit. It destroys the inward enemies, and the outward reverses have no more power. Their sting is gone, their evil is dispersed. The peace of the perfect ones can never be destroyed. 3. The pure in heart are protected from within. The perfect indeed are guarded by good. They are upheld by the good law. By the knowledge of truth they are lifted up. They stand and do not fall. Truth cannot be overtaken by error. It cannot be overturned by man. Error passes away, but the truth remains. Men fall, but the truth remains. Truth cannot change. It is eternal and indestructible. Herein is the salvation of the wise. Herein is the protection of the pure. Herein is the joy of the perfect. That, being one with truth, they have come to peace eternal. He who is one with truth reflects truth. He is steadfast, fearless, serene. He changes not, but is always true. When tried, he does not falter. When assailed, he does not fall. Permanent in purity and peace, he is established in gentleness and strength. Who mourns for sin? Who gropes for deliverance? Who searches for the permanent? Let him make himself pure. Let him come to truth. Let him find peace in the practice of good. Things are impermanent. They have no abiding protection. Truth is permanent. Its protection abides through all changes. Ill deeds are exposed in torment and confusion. Good deeds are established in bliss and wisdom. Truth is a friend that does not disappoint. A protector that never fails. The world fails. It fades and passes like a dream. Truth stands. It becomes more distinct and real. They who have found truth are satisfied. Protected by truth, they have found a protector indeed. The patient are protected from impatience. The pure are protected from impurity. The humble are protected from pride. The loving are protected from hatred. Greed flees from the presence of the open-handed. Into the habitations of the peaceful strife cannot come. And folly walks not where tread the footsteps of the wise. Truth is its own security. It protects without premeditation. It dispenses with disguises, and shields by its own inherent reality. Its light disposes of all darkness. It exposes the false and reveals the true. Error falls before truth. Its shield is shattered, its sword broken. Yea, it is laid low, and cannot rise. It is helpless and has nor champion nor defender. Truth does not fall before error. The powerless cannot overcome the powerful. The lesser cannot subdue the greater. The slave does not command the master. All things are subject to truth. Truth is a shield to the righteous. A shelter to the pure. A light upon the pathway of the just. Truth is supreme. Truth is invincible. Truth is triumphant forever and ever. Part 2, The Divine Dialogue. I, the Master, dwell in the hearts of all men, but all men do not consciously dwell with me. He that abides with me in all his thoughts and deeds, has reached the divine consummation. The divine dialogue between the Master and the disciple. Salutation. Rejoice, all ye who seek truth. Be glad and not sorrowful, all ye who love truth. For your sorrow shall pass away as the mists of the morning. Your doubts shall be as the darkness that is not. And as a dream of the night shall your afflictions be. The disciple cried, and lo! The Master heard. The disciple was ready, and lo! The Master was at hand. The disciple sought, and behold! The Master revealed. 1. Of seeking and finding. Disciple. Where is knowledge? Where is truth? Where is peace? I am sorrowful, and find no comfort in men. I have gone astray, and find no surety in the teachings of men. Yea, even in myself I find no truth, and no remedy for my doubt and sorrow. I have striven in the pride of my heart. I have contended with men for my opinions. I have mistaken evil for good, and have called ignorance knowledge. And now I am alone, and there is none to hear me. And if I cry, there is none to hear my voice. Master. Nay, I am with thee, and I hear thy voice. Disciple. Who art thou that dost assure me? Master. I am the Spirit of truth. Disciple. O Master. O Spirit of truth. Why didst thou not come to me before? Why didst thou leave me so long desolate? Master. Thou wert not desolate till now. Pride was thy companion, and pride satisfied thee. Where pride is, there I cannot come. and he who listens to its flatteries cannot hear my voice. Self-glory blinded thee, so that my form thou couldst not see. Self-exaltation deafened thee, and when I called, thou didst not hear. Self-seeking led thee astray, and my way was hidden from thee. But now, having put away pride, thou hast both seen and heard. Ask, and I will answer. Seek, and thou shalt find. Disciple. Comfort me, O Master. For I am weary. Strengthen me, for I am weak. Teach me, for I am lacking in knowledge. Master. He who deserts self, and takes refuge in me, is never deserted. My word is his comfort. My law his strength. And my commands his instruction and knowledge. Disciple. Speak thy word, and I will listen. Reveal thy law, and I will walk therein. Command me, and I, thy servant, will obey. For thou art the Master whom I so long sought. And having found thee, let me not depart from thee. Master. He who follows self, abandons me. But he who abandons self, lo, he is with me always. Disciple. Hitherto I have clung to self. I have followed after vain and empty desires. And caught in the toils of self-delusion, I have not known thy presence. But now, O Master, I have found thee. And having found thee, let me remain with thee. Let me be thy child, obeying thy voice. Let me be thy pupil, receiving thy instruction. Let me become thy disciple, and follow wheresoever thou dost lead. Master. Thy humility, O disciple, hath made the mine. Thou hast entered the gateway leading to my kingdom, even to the kingdom of a righteous life. Henceforth thou wilt follow truth and not self. Striving, thou hast entered. Searching, thou hast revealed. Seeking, thou hast found. Ask whatsoever thou wilt, and I will not withhold instruction. 2. Of entering the way. Disciple. Teacher of teachers, instruct thou me. Master. Ask, and I will answer. Disciple. I have read much, but am ignorant still. I have studied the doctrines of the schools, but have not become wise thereby. I know the scriptures by heart, but peace is hidden from me. Point out to me, O Master, the way of knowledge. Reveal to me the highway of divine wisdom. Lead thou thy child into the path of peace. Master. The way of knowledge, O disciple, is by searching the heart. The highway of wisdom is by the practice of righteousness. And by a sinless life is found the way of peace. Disciple. Bear with me, O Master. In my uncertainty. I am bewildered by the multitude of opinions. And by the number of schools am I confounded. Delusion blinds me, doubt encompasses me. And I cannot find the way wherein I should walk. Teach me how to search. How to practice. How to wear the garment of a blameless life. Master. Delusion and doubt, O disciple, are within thyself. Within thyself, also, are reality and certainty. By thine own errors only art thou blinded. Remove those errors, and thou shalt behold truth. Engage, therefore, in holy meditation. Search thy heart with the searching of truth. And cast out therefrom all that is of self. Disciple. What is of self? Master. Desire and passion and egotism. From desire and passion and egotism springs self-delusion. And self-delusion is the obscuration of truth. Renounce desire. Overcome passion. Put away egotism. Then will delusion be dispelled, and all thy doubts will vanish. Disciple. O Master. Great is the task which thou hast set before me. Laborious the work which thou commandest me to do. Steep and strange the way of renunciation which thou hast pointed out to me. Desire is deeply rooted in my nature. And passion binds me fast to earthly things. Yea, desire and passion are my very self. Must I renounce myself? Must I yield up that which seems so sweet? All men long to preserve the self. They pray for its eternal preservation and possession. And must I let it perish? Master. Thou must, for thou hast vowed to follow me. Disciple. Yea, I have vowed, and I will follow thee. Master. Seest thou how all men suffer? This is because they long to preserve the self. This is because they labor for its eternal preservation and possession. In desire and egotism and passion are turmoil and unrest. In me alone is peace. Weary in pain, stricken is the world because it knows not me. But in me there is no weariness. And pain and sorrow cannot come to my abode. My abode is a purified heart. The upright mind is my temple. And the blameless life is my holy habitation. Disciple, I will take refuge in thee. In thy abode. In thy temple. Yea, even in thy holy habitation. Master, the purified heart is not stained by desire. The upright mind is not impelled by passion. And in the blameless life there is no thought of self. Search thy heart and follow truth. Put away the self of desire and passion and egotism. Deny, overcome, and abandon it. Let no vestige of it remain with thee. For it is the author of all confusion. The source of all affliction. The spring of pain and sorrow and unrest. Rest thou in me. Disciple, thou hast pointed out to me the way of truth. Even the holy way of selfishness. That way will I walk. My resolution, O Master of Truth, is fixed in thee. I will put away desire, and will cling to thee. I will be deaf to the voices of passion, and will listen only to thy voice. I will not seek my own, but will obey the holy law. Lo, I have put my feet upon thy way. Lead thou thy servant unto light and peace. Master, thou hast entered, O disciple, the path of righteousness. Thy feet are set upon the way of wisdom. Thou shalt comprehend my law. The light of knowledge shall illumine thee. And I will guide thy footfalls unto peace. 3. Of Discipline and Purification. Disciple, I am in sorrow, O Master. My feet are weary, and darkness is closing around me. Desert me not, but come now to my assistance. My desires are strong, and they cry out for their habitual pleasures. My passions are violent, and overwhelm me with their strength. And the voices of my false opinions weary me with their demands. The way is dark and difficult to follow. Shed upon me, O Master, the light of thy knowledge. Comfort me with the balm of thy instruction. Master, thy sorrow, O disciple, is of the self. In me there is no sorrow. The darkness which surrounds thee is the shadow cast by the self. There is no darkness in me. Truth is serene and sorrowless. There is no weeping and weariness and lamentation in truth. Even now, though thou seest it not, my light is shining on thy pathway. But thou seest only the dark illusions of thy worldly self. Press forward, and think only of truth. Look not behind thee, nor let thy mind swerve from thy holy resolution. Great is the conquest which thou hast entered upon, even the mighty conquest of thyself. Be faithful, and thou shalt overcome. Disciple, lead me, O Master, for my darkness is very great. Clouds of selfish thoughts envelop me, and the enemies within my mind assail me continually. In the snares of my own making my feet are caught. And when I think to walk firmly I stumble and fall. Yea, my falls are many and grievous, and my wounds frequent and sore. Will the darkness lift, O Master? Will trial end in victory? And will there be an end to my many sorrows? Master, when thy heart is pure, the darkness will disappear. When thy mind is free from passion, thou wilt reach the end of trial. And when the thought of self-preservation is yielded up, there will be no more cause for sorrow. Thou art now upon the way of discipline and purification. All my disciples must walk that way. Before thou canst enter the white light of knowledge. Before thou canst behold the full glory of truth. All thy impurities must be purged away. The delusions dispelled. And thy mind fortified with endurance. Though darkness surroundeth thee. Though temptation assaileth thee on every hand. Though thou art sore distressed, and cease not before thee. Yet relax not thy faith in truth. Forget not that truth is eternally supreme. Remember that I, the Lord of truth, am watching over thee. Disciple, great is my faith in truth. And I will not forget, but will remember thee. Master, walking faithfully the path of discipline and purification. Not forsaking and abandoning it. and not longing to enjoy the pleasures which thou hast left behind thee. Thou wilt learn those things which are necessary for thee. Thou wilt learn of the nature of sin and the meaning of temptation, of suffering and sorrow, and their cause and cure, of the fleeting nature of thyself, and its pleasures, of the permanence of truth and its abiding peace, of what are the marks of ignorance, and what constitutes knowledge, of what makes evil and what is eternally good, of the painfulness of self and the bliss of truth wilt thou learn. Thou wilt also learn of illusion and reality. Be faithful and endure, and I will teach thee all things. Disciple, I will not turn my face from thee, nor will I desert thy holy way. Master, hear me again, O disciple. Walking faithfully the path of discipline and purification, not abandoning it, but submitting to its austerities. Thou wilt acquire the 3 lesser powers of discipleship. Thou wilt also receive the 3 greater powers, and the lesser and the greater powers will render thee invincible. By their aid thou wilt subdue all sin. Thou wilt overcome to the uttermost. Thou wilt achieve the supreme conquest. Disciple, what are the lesser and the greater powers? Master, self-control, self-reliance, and watchfulness. These are the 3 lesser powers. Steadfastness, patience, and gentleness. These are the 3 greater powers. When thy mind is well controlled, and in thy keeping. When thou reliest upon no external help, but upon truth alone. And when thou art ceaselessly watchful over thy thoughts and actions, then will the 3 lesser powers be thine. And with these powers thou wilt dispel the great darkness. Thou wilt approach the supreme light. Approaching the supreme light, thou wilt become steadfastly fixed in truth. Thou wilt become patient with an infinite patience, and gentle with a gentleness which nothing can change or mar. Then will the 3 greater powers be thine. Then wilt thou come to the end of the path of discipline, and wilt ascend unto the higher path of knowledge. Walking the path of knowledge, thy sorrow will cease. Thy darkness will pass away forever, and joy and light will wait upon thy footsteps. Disciple, I am reassured, O Master, and am strong to proceed. I am obedient to thee, and will submit to thy discipline. For thou hast comforted me with the word of knowledge. Thou hast strengthened me with the exhortation of truth. Thou hast instructed me with the instruction of enlightenment. Master, blessed is he who obeys the truth. He shall not remain comfortless, but shall receive the benediction of peace. 4. Of renunciation. Disciple, Teacher divine, thy light is breaking in upon my mind. I now know the cause of my sorrow and suffering. I apprehend the sorrows of mankind, for my sufferings are the sufferings of the world. I see that sorrow and suffering are rooted in self, that evil and woe are in the desires of self, and that all the desires of self must be relinquished. Guide me, O Master, into the way of self-sacrifice. Teach me how to abolish self from the mind. Reveal to me the truth about renunciation. Master, renunciation, O disciple, is twofold. There is renunciation in the letter. There is also renunciation in the spirit, the renunciation of outward things and particular acts only. This is the false renunciation in the letter, the renunciation of inward desires and defilements. This is the true renunciation in the spirit. Beware, O learner, of the renunciation which is false. Perform thou the renunciation which is true. Disciple, instruct me further in the renunciation, which is according to truth. Then I will embrace and perform it. So shall I avoid the renunciation which is erroneous and misleading. Master, seek no gratification in the things which thou doest. Look not for reward in the things wherein thou strivest. Do all thy duties meekly, putting away desire. This is the true renunciation. Do not think of gain or loss to thyself. Think not to obtain pleasure and avoid pain in thy acts. Do all things faithfully that are necessary to be done. This also is the true renunciation. Sever not thyself from the world, but relinquish all love for the world and its pleasures. Do thy work in the world without thought of personal ends. This, again, is the true renunciation. Not by the outer things of the world is a man defiled. He is defiled by the low desires of his heart. To renounce the world, and not to relinquish clinging to self. This is the false renunciation. Not from riches or poverty. Not from wife or children. Not from power and servitude. Not from these things do afflictions spring. From indolence and self-indulgence. From lust and covetousness. From hatred and pride. From these things only do afflictions spring. Renounce the evil within, and the things of the world will not defile thee. Put away all thought of self, and whatsoever thou doest it will bring to thee no suffering. In all thy duties forsake the thought of self, and sorrow will never overtake thee. He who quitteth a duty that is irksome, seeking happiness thereby. He who fleeth from the scene of temptation, seeking strength thereby. He who abandoneth his obligations, seeking bliss thereby, Such a man, O disciple, falsely renounces. He is deluded, and will not attain to purity of heart. As a brave soldier, when death is inevitable, does not desert his post, thinking of duty only, and not of self-preservation. So he who renounces truly, remains in his place in the world, performing all his duties steadfastly, not thinking of self. Renounce self, O disciple. Renounce all the tendencies of self. Renounce all the passions and prejudices of self. Renounce all the errors and egotism of self. Such is the true renunciation. Such is the sacrifice which leads to enlightenment and peace. Disciple. What, O Master? Are the tendencies of the self? Master. Lust and self-indulgence. Self-seeking and avarice. Hatred and anger. Vanity and pride. Doubt and fear. These are the tendencies of self. These are the things that must be renounced. Disciple. And these things, O Spirit Immaculate, I will renounce. I will obliterate them from my mind. I will abolish them from my inmost heart. For now I see how they lead men into ways of blindness, that they make snares of suffering for the feet of men, that they dig deep pits of sorrow for men to fall therein. I rejoice, O divine